Hello. All right, let's talk a little bit about workshops. We have a workshop due this week. Now, you have to pay attention to the due dates and the specific requirements for our workshop. The week is very short, yet we have a lot of things going on in a very tight window. The workshop drafts that you submit your own rough draft, workshop draft, will be due by Monday at 11:59 p.m. It has to be 5 pages. You have to follow the specific requirements. The specific requirements are you have to underline the thesis. We want to see what you think the thesis is. And we need to also make sure that you're not underlining an entire paragraph, that you know what a thesis is, that your thesis isn't a question or 2 sentences or something weird. We want to be able to have some consensus and agreement between us, the reader, and you, the writer, as to what you mean by the thesis. You need to include a grade justification utilizing the language of the English 300 rubric. So the English 300 rubric was included in the last module. You're going to have to look at those, how it breaks down the different grades. And after the essay, after the works cited, you're going to have to include a paragraph that breaks down what you think you deserve on this paper based on those criteria. We're not interested in, I tried really hard to think I deserve an A. We want you to specifically look at and utilize the language of saying, I believe I deserve an A because, and look at the criteria for that. The draft has to be in MLA, Modern Language Association formatting. This is extremely important. You have to use this. This is both in the parenthetical citations when you're giving attribution for a quote, like, Cruz, last name, and the page number, 4, in parentheses and punctuation. And it also goes to the work cited. We're not doing footnotes, don't do any references. It's work cited on the last page, and then all of your the work cited in order of the author's last name alphabetically with the information that a works cited page should have. If you're not familiar with that, you can look on the OWL. I've kind of gone over that a little bit. That's the author's last name, the title of the piece, the publication in which it appeared, the page numbers, publication numbers, page numbers, that stuff, right? It's not a URL. If you put a www address, that's not going to fare well for you. So you have to make sure that these specific requirements are met on your rough draft and on your final draft, on every single paper. Underline the thesis. Include a grade justification that utilizes the language of the rubric, and it has to be in MLA formatting. Now the scoring on the rough draft, you get, if you didn't meet the specific requirements, as Willy Wonka would say, you get nothing, 0. It doesn't get graded, so you have to meet those specific requirements. But if you did meet those specific requirements, then you get 20 points per page. So that's 100 points, okay? Now, I said it's due Monday, 11:59 p.m. because the magic happens midnight on Tuesday when the system is going to generate automatically 2 peer reviews. Now, you're also going to get 25 points for each peer review that you do. So the total on this is going to be 150 points. Now, you want to get the peer reviews done as quickly as possible. If somebody was reviewing you, you would want feedback as quickly as possible so that you could try to continue to work and develop your paper with some feedback. So try to get it in no later than Friday, but if you can't do it till Sunday, get it in on Sunday. This means that you might not get feedback on your paper, which is all right. That's not exactly the reason why we're doing this. Why are we doing this? What is the goal? Well, one, it's an opportunity to meet the people in the class, to be in a class, to interact with other people. The big one, number 2, is to see what other people have written. How did they approach the same subject? What approach did they take? Sometimes it's good to see what other people did. That kind of is instructive for you. You learn, number 3, you learn how to give feedback. Right? You give reader response. I know some people are like, I'm not the instructor. What am I supposed to say? Well, you're in the class. You've read the prompt, right? You've done the essay. Otherwise, you wouldn't have gotten 2 peer reviews. And now you can provide your perspective. You've heard me talk a little bit about what the requirements are, and you can give feedback. You've successfully gone through English 300. You know a little bit about this stuff. So That's a big one, is learning how to give feedback. And then the fourth one is to learn how to incorporate other people's feedback, if at all. You might get terrible feedback. Somebody might tell you, you should write this in Greek. And you go, man, this class isn't in Greek, though. I don't think I'm going to do that. Good choice. Don't write it in Greek. All right. Now, as you're looking through other people's essays, and as you're looking at your own, here's some specific things to consider. Okay, number one, the specific requirements. I keep saying that. Must be really important. MLA, underline the thesis, have a grade justification. These have to be there. Number two, MLA. Again, I talked about this before. MLA, in-text parenthetical citations, giving attribution when you direct quote, when you paraphrase, or when you summarize. 3 different ways that you integrate work into your papers. When you do those 3 things, you have to give attribution. It's not just enough to say, well, in an article written by Ron Cruz, and then give that. You still have to have that parenthetical citation. If you have me in the signal phrase, as if you'd quote me, you would just have the page number. Otherwise, you have the last name. Anyway, there's rules. Look them up. This is not the end of the world. Wait, it is the end of the world. No, it's not. All right. MLA citation. Works cited. You have to have a good works cited at the very end of that, listing out all of the sources that you've utilized in the paper. All right, academic sources. You want to ensure that you are utilizing academic sources, that the reader or the writer that you're reading has utilized academic sources. If you see Webster or Wikipedia or encyclopedic reference material rear their ugly head within this, you might want to let the writer know that's fine for your own edification, but we don't need that. It doesn't belong in an academic paper. So you have to make sure that you're using academic sources. I don't need Webster to say, well, Webster, public discourse, according to Webster, if I need that, I'll look it up myself. For the purposes of the paper, utilize academic sources. All right, number 4, things you're looking for in the paper, baseline definitions or explanations. Again, you want to use academic sources for that, but you want to go ahead and set up what you mean by public discourse. When you talk about social media, which one are you talking about? Have you adequately explained it to somebody who isn't familiar with it? Is the idea of social media tight in the focus? This has to be something that can be managed within a 5-page paper. Books have been written about Twitter or Facebook. I say Twitter or Facebook, you can write about any of the social media. Just because these are the only things that come into my mind while I'm talking doesn't mean that that's what you're limited to. You can write about whatever social media that you want to. But you have to be specific enough. Get into one specific aspect of it, one thing that it's doing or performing in, that you can manage a 5-page paper. It can't just be so broad as to say 4chan is bad, right? What aspect of 4chan, right? Well, you have to get into the specifics, and again, explaining it to somebody who isn't aware of that. Also, public discourse. What do you mean by public discourse? You're going to have to set that idea up. You're going to have to explain what you mean by that. And then you're going to have to show the relationship between these two as you move through the essays, as you're arguing the point. That is something that is huge. You want to make sure that your thesis is something that can be argued and that it can be argued against. If you're saying something like, fascism is bad, well, there's no room for a counter-argument. Nobody's going to be like, well, there are a lot of benefits to fascism. That is so one way that there is no real counter-argument that can be employed. So you want to ensure that your thesis is something that is challenging enough that could leave room for an adequate counter-argument. Okay. Those are the things that you're looking for in the essay. I'm trying to give you as much information as I can. Normally in a classroom we would have an opportunity to have some Q&A, some back and forth. If you want to discuss essays with me, the office hour does work best. You can email me, but you're not going to email me your essay and say, "Hey, what do you think of this?" You know, that's shorthand for I'm done with this essay. I don't want to work on it anymore. Can you tell me if I've done enough work? If you have specific ideas that you want to say, did I narrow down the scope of public discourse enough in this essay? We can talk about that. Is the manner in which I set up, my social media platform in this essay adequate? We can discuss that. But in regards to holistic grading, I'm going to do that at that point. Otherwise, drop in the office hour and we can discuss these things. I know I've gone over quite a bit of information. I hope I wasn't speaking too fast. If you have any questions, if you found anything that I said confusing, you can rewatch the video and I will gladly repeat myself with the same charm and vigor that I applied in the first attempt at this. Otherwise, if you have any questions, as always, please email me. Thanks.